Hello everyone and welcome back to PlateUp. We're going to be going over how to run a day. In the previous episodes, we talked about the main menu, the layout screens, etc. And in the last episode, we talked about setting up our first restaurant. And if you hear a bit of music, it's because I'm now playing on the release version, which is 1.0.1. This has been recorded on Wednesday, August 3rd, if you are wondering when the dates were. So, you're at your screen here. Now, practice mode lets you practice the day, which we did cover before. The phone, which I may have touched on, you can actually ring people to get them there into your restaurant faster, and you get extra money for that. You get a base amount plus plus 1 coin per every 2 days of your restaurant. So when we hit day 3, we'll get an extra coin, and then it'll increase. Once you get to level 14, for example, you get an extra 7 per day, per ring, per group of customers that come in, which is very handy, especially early on when you're trying to save up some money. Okay, we have everything set up here. We have day 1, expected customers on the left-hand side. It says 5. Group sizes are 1 to 2, which means you need to have chairs. Because if you have it like this, it says right there an error message, larger tables needed. Your restaurant must cater to larger groups because our group sizes are 1 to 2. If you individual dining, it'll be 1, and this is fine. If you have cards that increase your group sizes from 2 to 4, 6 to 8, etc., and you can get some group cards where you have up to 8 people sitting at one table at one time, which obviously you need a lot more tables joined together for that. But for what we're doing right now is we have our expected customers are 5. Now that could be 2 groups of 2 plus 1 group of 1. It could be 5 groups of 1 or any other combination. Okay, so we have our 2 hobs. This is our starter set, your 2 basic hobs. You have your 4 plates, your starter sink, which is only 75% cleaning. You only have 4 plates when you start out here, and your hob is 75% speed, or 0.75 speed. The regular hob is 1.0 speed. The danger hob is 2, and the safety hob is also 0.75, but it does not burn. We'll be getting to those as we unlock them. So let's just run a couple days. The blueprint cabinet, we can't use that because we don't have any blueprints. After today, we'll have blueprints on the ground that you guys will be able to pick up. Let me just check to make sure. Okay, my music is all the way up. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear that or not. I don't really know. If you can't, because there have been some bugs, I'm just saying that right now, with the music and the sound effects. So if you cannot hear that, I do apologize. But we can get started here, and we can see what happens when you start a day. I'm actually turn that back down. Okay, so you hit K, or if you're using a controller, it'll be whatever your controller button is, which will show you where it says start day. So let's start the day. Now, customers will come in. If you ring them, this meter will go up, and as soon as you hit it, it dings. Oh, now the music kicked in. So let me turn it down a little bit, you guys. The music kicks in more when the day is going on. Okay, so we have our customer. You walk over and you hit the interact button. They want a medium steak. And as you see, steaks make a mess. These little the starter hobs really make a mess. That's 1 for rare, 2 for medium. You come grab a plate, put it down, and there you go. If you want to ring someone, oh, and we got an achievement. Steaks were made. Boom, you see we got plus 3 coins. Plus 3 is the base. Now, since this table is dirty, people won't sit. They'll line outside. As soon as you pick it up, they'll come and sit inside. And you can hit your interact button here. So you have your P for me is pick up and put down. O is interact. Now we have to take their order. What would they like? I wonder. They want 2. So we can get actually 2 on at one time if we want. When you have the faster hobs, you got to be careful doing more than 1 at once because they will burn. But since these are both the same, got that one and that one. Now, if you see, we have a giant mess, and I'm walking so slow. But let's serve these, and then we'll talk about the mess, because we only have 1 more group after today. There you go. You hold O, or your interact button, over top of messes. Your sink will clean messes, except these large messes, as you see. And as you see, customers are waiting outside, so we better get our plates picked up. When it becomes nighttime, if you look outside, it's dark. When it becomes nighttime, or it's raining, or if you have a map where there's snow, their patience will go down a lot faster. Okay, let's get 2 on. We have 1 rare and 1 medium. So we can, whichever one, doesn't matter how they go. And also you can pick these up without having to use a plate. So you pick it up, plate it, pick it up, plate it, and this is your pickup button. Serve, serve. And then the messes, again, you got to keep them tidy. The phone we used already, which we can't use it again because we're at the end of the day. We had 5 customers. And it will tell us right now, oh, we got another achievement. Work smart. As you guys, if you're just watching this video and you haven't played the game yet, your achievements will not be unlocked and they'll keep progressing as you progress. As of right now, I don't know if there's integration on Steam to see all the achievements, but it will be being worked on if it's not available. Now, if you see what we have on the screen, it has your earnings for the day. We have $25 from stake, 3 from using the booking desk, and player count bonus. So if you have 1 or 2 players, you will get a coined bonus at the end of the day. 1 player, single player, you get 7 as of today. And then doubles, you get, I think, maybe 4 or 5. And then once you have 3 or 4 people, you don't really get any bonus because you have more people. Now you just hit OK on this. Now here are the envelopes that we discussed earlier on in previous episodes. So we have a lot to cover. At the end of each day, you will spawn in 5 envelopes. There will always be 5, except on days 5, 10, 15, and then OT day 5, 10, 15, etc., etc. The multiples of 5 days, and that's what's called Deco Day, where you will not get any blueprints except the ones that are for decorations only, and there'll be maybe like 6 or 8 of them on the ground. There'll be more than 5. But you walk over to this, and you hit your interact button, opens it up, it says sync, and it will tell you if there's a plus in front of it and says upgradable, that means you can upgrade it by putting it in your blueprint cabinet and then using a research desk, which unfortunately we don't have yet. Let's open this one. Counter. Counter's upgrade. So let's talk about upgrades real quick. A sync, which is a 1.0 speed. This is 0.75, so it's a bit faster than base sync. This will upgrade to a soaking sink. A soaking sink is a sink where is very slow, but you put a plate in it and it cleans it by itself. You can also upgrade to a power sink, which is a 2x speed, which cleans things twice as fast as a normal sink. And then the third one is a wash basin, which allows you to clean up to 4 plates at one time, but it is slower than the base sink. Now, a wash basin also upgrades to a dishwasher, which does exactly what you think. You load up to 4 plates in a dishwasher, you close it, it runs the cycle, it opens up by itself, then you have to empty it. But it is the slowest of the 4 methods of cleaning dishes. Or actually 5 methods, I guess. So, and then a counter upgrades, it allows the chopping, which is the knife, and hand, which is kneading. The two actions. And a counter is one of these things, by the way. A counter upgrades into what's called a workstation, which gives the chopping and the kneading action a 2x speed bonus. So which is a good thing if you have to chop. Right now, we're not chopping anything because it's kind of irrelevant to us. It also upgrades to a freezer. Now, a freezer allows you to take one dish, say a pot of soup, pot of mashed potatoes, a steak, and you can put it in there and it'll save it till the next day. So it's quite handy if you start getting side dishes. Let's see. We'll come back to this one in a second. We have a dining table. Now, a dining table upgrades into one of 3. It upgrades to a fancy dining table, a simple dining table, or a metal dining table. And once we get to that stage, I'll explain the 3 different types and what they do. Which we could buy, or you could buy a dining table just as it is now, and we could expand and have 2 tables up here. But for now, we're not going to buy it right now. And the last one is a candle box. A candle box is a consumable. So in the start of the day, when it becomes nighttime, like how it got dark outside the restaurant, you can take a candle and put it on a table. And then their patience when they're sitting there is increased by 20%. But you have to do it every time. It's not a once and done. It doesn't stick on there until the next day. You can only use it until nighttime, etc., etc. So the last thing is the research desk. And this is kind of the bread and butter of this game when it comes to advancing quicker than not advancing. So a research desk, interact to upgrade a blueprint in an addition cabinet. The only way to upgrade blueprints is you need a research desk. So we can't afford it because it's only 40 coins and it says 40 and we only have 35. So what we're going to do is we're going to save it. And you can save things in a blueprint cabinet as well. Now, there's one more feature down here, which we're not going to do today because we only have 35 coins, is you can re-roll for a coin amount. It starts at 10 coins and it increases 10 coins every time you re-roll it there's an unlimited amount of times you re-roll it, except when you run out of money. And what that does is all blueprints that are on the ground, it will replace them with 4 different blueprints. And also, the blueprints that you get will be tuned to your run. Like, for instance, we won't get a pot stack. We won't get a set of woks. We won't get things like that because we don't need that for a steak run. Once you start getting soups, then you'll start getting pot stacks. Or if you have stir fry, you'll get wok stacks, etc., etc. You only get things that pertain to your run. So since we can't afford anything, I don't want to buy a sink. I don't want to buy a counter. I don't really want to buy a table at this stage. I want to save money to buy the research desk. Now we can hit K or whatever your button is on the controller. We'll start our day. And what we'll do is let's call in somebody. Boom, there you go, 4 coins. And the earlier you call, the more you get. All right, let's just start cooking some steaks because we know this person wants a medium. So we have to just wait here. Steaks are one of those things where it's a bit of a waiting game, but at each tier of steak, it cooks faster than the next. So you have to be aware of that. And it's raining outside, noted by that little icon. Now, one thing, as I am making messes, you see the water splashes here? What the water splashes do is they'll clean messes that are within one tile of your sink. So you see the splashes in the front to the side. So if you had one of those messes on the ground, it will clean it, except those large messes which we had on day 1. Oh, this person wants this one, and we have that already for them. Let's call in a couple more people because we're rolling through. And you can call as many as you want. You could call the entire group amount or the entire customer amount at one time if you like to. But you got to be quick about it. Here we have 2. Their thinking time. So they each want a medium steak, which is actually pretty good. There's 1, and here's 2. Now, the tip with this is as soon as you serve 1 customer, the patience meter will drop down drastically. You see how slow it's going now? If I serve 1, look how fast it drops. Significantly faster. So that means you have less time to give them their second order. So a tip is until you have the full order made, ready to go. By the way, you see that mess disappeared? Until you have the full table's order ready, don't start serving people. All right, we made 47 coins. Awesome. Now, that means we can buy this. But let's first look to see. We got sink again, dining table again. And for beginning steaks, you only get so many different things. Hob, counter, oven. An oven is something that you can use to cook in as well. It's 2x speed. And things don't burn in them unless you shut the door on them. So you got to be careful. Now, a hob is what we have already. But you see how it says 1x speed? This one says 0.75. So this one will cook at a normal rate compared to this one. But for now, I think we're okay. But we do want to buy our research desk. Place it there. Now, you know when the research desk is next to the cabinet, when you have this little beaker icon on top of it, if they place it here, see the icon goes away. So they have to be adjacent. They have to be kind of touching each other to get the benefit. Now, we could upgrade a sink. We could try to upgrade a table. We could upgrade an oven, which upgrades to a microwave, which we aren't going to be doing in this run because I don't really care for the microwave, but it is something that is possible. And you also have a counter, which again we spoke about before. But I want to upgrade a hob. Or do I? I think I do. So at the start of the day, we're going to K off. I say K off because that starts today. Now, also at the very top of the screen, see how it has a bunch of gray circles, a star, gray circle, a banner, a star, etc. Those are your days. The star days, at the end of each star day is when you get a new card. So at the end of today, we get to pick a new card. When it gets to the one where the banner is, that is your first decoration day. And then when you get to the one with the paintbrush, that would be your second decoration day. And when you get to the last one here that has the medal, the gold medal, that is your franchise. And you also becomes a deco day. And at your franchise, you actually get to pick a card that may influence your run currently, or it may carry over into your tier 1 franchise. Anyway, let's upgrade to hub. So the way you do this is you K off on the day. During the day, you come over and you hit your interact button. Keyboard players, it is O. And this goes up and goes up. And we upgraded to a safety hob. I like safety hobs for steak because things don't burn. Whoops. Whoopsies. Now, let this one cook. Again, it takes a little while, but we're going to call somebody while I'm waiting because why not? This order's ready to go now. I want to take this one off. Now, watch when I wash this dish. Will we get a splash to clean the mess? We did. The mess goes away. This person wants the one that we have pre-made. Look at that. Let's call somebody else. The phone can be good, but it could also be a big-time hindrance depending on how your play style is. If you want them rushed in here and rushing, then you can call the phone all the time if you like. Okay, we got to wait for a medium to come through. Medium. I'm going to save this medium just in case. We have a group of 2 outside, so I don't want to use the phone. All right, let's see what they want. Oh, 2 mediums. We have 1 medium. Now, again, remember, you don't want to serve them until this one is finished or almost finished. Again, if you're playing with more than 1 person, some of this becomes easier because someone would be cooking and somebody else would be serving. So you know, ideally, I would say between 1 and 4 players is what you can play with. 1 player is much different than 2, 3, or 4. Ideally, 3 people. 4 can get very hectic depending on your higher levels. Now, we are at the card section. And this is where the tutorial is going to end, but I'm going to explain the 2 cards. Now, every 3 days, your star days, on completion of the star days, as I mentioned before, is you will get a choice between 2 cards. The card on the left is typically the purple one, which is considered a customer card. It has to do with your interactions with customers. It could either be more customers, it could be arriving at a different time, it could be a morning or lunch rush, it could be sedate atmosphere. Now, sedate atmosphere, players walk slowly when you're customers, which is not good. It works significantly slower. You wouldn't want to give them indigestion, would you? That's just like a funny blurb. So, the tip was sedate atmosphere, which is what we're going to take, or should we take them? You know what? I don't know. Let's talk about the other one. The other card, the blue card, that is your food card. And as you see at the bottom, it says minus 15% and then the little people icon. And that is minus 15% of your expected customers. And you say, well, why is that? Well, because you're adding another food. You're adding thin steaks, which adds another freezer, which adds another option. So we went from 3 options, your rare, medium, and well-done main steak to now thin cut. So that adds another 3 options, which can make it very hectic, especially when you get, well, I won't go into the additional cards until we get there, but it gives you a 15% reduction. So, but the thing is, though, is our customer count will go from 7 down to about 6 because, you know, 10% of 7 is 0.7, so 15% is like 1, so it's not very much. So I think I'm going to go with sedate, and I'll explain why. When you're playing a diner style map, which is what this is called, when you have all pass-throughs like this, they're not necessarily counters, but they're pass-throughs. A diner style map are small maps like this that are typically set up in this kind of L-shaped, this, you know, weird L-shaped configuration. You'll have 1 door, the door could be here, and you have 1 entry door, which would be somewhere along here. When you have a card that says sedate atmosphere, anything that has to do with being on the other side of this does not affect it. So, in theory, since we're serving in here, I could walk right up to this table and the sedate atmosphere debuff would not happen because the customers don't see these pass-throughs as an open space. I think that's the easiest way to say that. Now, also, I could turn this back just to show you the animation on this, which you might do for the next day. And one last tip with this is if you place something in front of a door, it becomes a pass-through. I may have mentioned that before. I wanted to mention it again. And also, you could rotate tables and you could rotate chairs, which I've mentioned before as well. Now, anyway, so sedate, when using a diner-style map like this where you're serving and cooking inside, sedate is like what I would consider a free card because it doesn't give you any negative bonus. It also doesn't give you any positive bonus, but it doesn't make you have any more work, which is a good thing. Because if I'd be serving out in the dining room, as soon as I'd step out here and I'd be near the customers, I'd be walking like not stuttery, but this slow, like significantly slower. Now, let's open up the cards. Hob, sink, plates, breadsticks, coffee table. Now, again, you're only going to get cards that relate to what you have. Now, you do have a chance to get a prep station, a conveyor belt, etc. Let's go over these couple new ones here. Breadsticks is the same thing as the candles, except it gives you a different bonus. Breadsticks you have to place on the table. It doubles their thinking time, which is the head with the gears, which is what they're thinking what they want to order. It doubles that, but it also doubles the patience of when you serve one, but it doubles the patience of when you have to serve the other one. So it can be good if you have a lot of groups or a lot of people in one group. Now, plates gives you 8 plates, which you can now upgrade to an auto plater, which that's pretty much later. We won't get into that right now. But because we start with only 4 plates, this is a good thing to have. But for us, because we're only using one table and we only have 7 customers, having an extra set of plates, it doesn't benefit us right now, but it would be good to buy for later. A hob we had before, sink we had before, coffee table. This is where we can't buy both of these because I want to buy the safety hob to show you guys. A coffee table. Customers will wait here for a dining table. Now, if you remember, customers were waiting outside and they were waiting right about here and they had a meter going above their head. And when it's nighttime or raining or snowing, the meter ticks down a lot faster. What a dining table does is basically allows them to come inside and sit right here and wait for a table where it's light out, where it's dry, where it's not wet or anything like that, and it's warm inside. So their patience goes down a lot slower than them standing outside, which is a good thing. But we don't have the money to buy it because a coffee table costs $40 and a safety hob costs $60. So it's 75% speed. It's the same speed as these, but it says right here, it won't burn food. 25% slower is already shown in the little description, which is 0.75x. It won't burn the food. So for things like steak, it's not bad, but you have to pick it up and put it down every time. Things like, well, fish or anything else that you're cooking, it stops after the first cooking phase. But I want to buy, it's interesting what I want to buy. For me, I would probably even buy the coffee table to call in people faster to get more money. But I think we'll buy the safety hob because it will come in handy later on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this hob with that one, and I'll just store this one down here. Now, as you see, we can't afford the coffee table. We can try to upgrade a sink. We could upgrade the plates. We could try to upgrade a hob again. Or we could just save the coffee table. Because after day 5, which we actually have 2 more days, it'll be our deco day. So it's a good thing at the end of day 4, which would be after today, that you save something in your cabinet. Even if there's nothing to upgrade, save something in it, because on day 5, at the end of day 5, you will not get any of these blueprints. You'll only get decoration blueprints. So what I think we'll do is I want to upgrade a hob again. And I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to call that an episode here. We talked about days 1 through 3, the new card option, which we got right here, which was sedate atmosphere instead of thin steaks. Thin steaks, prerequisite is having steaks. And then there's also an option to get thick steaks, which we will talk about a bit later on once we get to that phase. But I want to thank you guys for watching. In the next episode, we're going to run through days 4 through 6. We'll do a decoration day, explain what each decoration means, and see what drops we get and see what research we get done. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Hopefully these tutorials are very helpful for you guys. And I'll catch you all. Oh, actually, we could do a reroll. You know what? We'll talk about that in the next episode. Thank you guys very much, and hope to see you soon.